the 31-year-old status with LIV has been the subject of much speculation, particularly since the league doesn't publicly disclose contract terms. So we're all wondering what is going to happen with Bryson's future in LIV Golf.
I continue to see LIV Golf growing. It's going to grow at an exponentiating pace for years to come, and we aren't going anywhere.
There's been various headlines around the world in the last few days.
Like what?
About you. You've not seen them, obviously. You don't read the papers. No, I mean about returns of PGA Golf, not happy with this, contracts, so on. Do you want to just put the record straight here and now as what's going on? And
I'm very excited about. No, I'm very excited about the future of LIV Golf. I'm very excited to be the captain of the Crushers and continue our legacy that we're starting to create. That's my goal, is to create this lasting legacy where we impact millions and millions of golfers' lives around the world. So that should tell you everything you should know.
Bryson, off the cuff right there, and kind of preaching what he believes will be the growth of LIV Golf. One miss, I think, with LIV. I wish they would publicly disclose contracts like you see in other sports, in professional soccer, NFL, NBA. A lot of the either off-season news or buzz is around length, money, and how long these guys are secured for. So, yeah, with the conversations regarding Bryson and his future, what do you make of it?
First, I'm with you. We're sports fans, and you look at the offseason in other sports. It's the transaction that gets me excited a lot of the times. I'll go back to what Jon Rahm did with his team in that offseason going into this LIV season. I was pretty impressed. Like, he bought himself a team to go out and compete under the new rules. So it was pretty impressive. I will say, when Bryson talks like that, it's clear that he's under contract, and there's certain things he can say and certain things he can't say, just to be fair. However, I was at the LIV event at the Doral a few years ago, and he was walking around the lobby, and we got to talking. His passion is not misplaced. He loves the product. He loves what he does, and he truly believes in it. That being said, I also think he understands his position in the game. I keep going back to this, that the Monday after last year's U.S. Open at Pinehurst, I flew to the Travelers Championship, a signature event, and the sponsors have put up a lot of money to get the best field they could and all the attention. Bryson was not the best player on the planet at that moment in time, but he was by far the most popular player on the planet, and that was felt all the way from West Virginia, where LIV Golf was playing that week, all the way up to Connecticut, because you knew you were missing the best player in the game at that time.
Where does he stack up among current needle movers who are playing in professional golf?
Tiger Woods is not playing, to your point.
Yeah.
Number 2 behind him. I don't know how you put anyone else.
So you don't put Rory or Jordan Spieth ahead of him?
Certainly Rory is entertaining, and he's going to be in the conversation. Maybe we do 2A and 2B, to be fair. I would put Jordan Spieth in that conversation. There's other guys that you want to come out and watch, but you're not going to put them at 3 or 4. At least I'm not.
The wow moments that you have with Bryson DeChambeau, there isn't anyone else with his length off the tee that generates those. I think of what we showed you at Bay Hill, what he did Sunday singles at Whistling Straits on the par 4 first opening hole, driving it, making eagle. He's one of those guys that is clearly missed seeing week to week on the biggest stages.
And he did a actual victory lap around Pinehurst. I mean, how many people? He's high-fiving people all over the property. He's yucking it up with our man Johnson Wagner after the fact, in the dark, in the bunker. Everything that goes into that, everything he's doing on social media. I think I'm a man of a certain age. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I spend a lot of time on social media, but I got to thinking about hitting balls over my house to see if I could make a hole-in-one. Like, he's entertaining.
The one thing I would say with his comments, he's under contract.
Fair.
You'd be surprised if he said anything different at a LIV event. And they may be forthcoming with how he truly believes, but he basically has to say that. He's not going to say, you know what, LIV's not really for me. I'm looking forward to when my deal's up in 25 or 26. You're going to toe that regardless of whatever future move he's going to make.
Absolutely. You have to read everything he says, and sometimes I would say the same thing about PGA Tour players. Sometimes they're not entirely honest when they answer questions that we pose to them. But in this particular case, he's under contract. You're right. If he's under contract for 1 or 2 more years, what else is he supposed to say?
Yeah, but overall, I mean, with how he has wrapped his arms around reaching golf fans in non-traditional ways, he's been great for the game the past 3-4 years with this Bryson DeChambeau 2.0 who loves giving back when it comes to content creation.
And whatever the future of the game is, if there is or if there is not a deal between the tour and the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, imagine a world where I don't imagine he or any of the other LIV players come back and play a full 15-event PGA Tour schedule. But imagine a scenario where he parachutes in and picks where he wants to go. He's in Scottsdale. He's at the Players Championship. He's there this week at Bay Hill, and we're talking about him trying to drive the green again on a par 5. That's only good for the game, not just the PGA Tour, not just LIV Golf. It's good for the game.
Yeah, 100%.